record. Okay, so welcome everyone. Happy to have you today. Thank you, Carla, for being our host and willing to share about your country and your culture. It's very exciting get to know more about your cycling and other traditions, cycling culture and other traditions. So yeah, for those who doesn't know, Carla, she's our devoted volunteer and been in Ukraine for 7 times already. Am I right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 7 times, and she loves Ukraine. She learns Ukrainian language, and we are so happy to have you in our community and being such a devoted, yeah, person. So thank you for that.
My pleasure. Thank you for accepting me. It's a lovely organization. It's just the right size. Gets a lot done, but it's not too complicated with bureaucracy as some can be. Get the job done. All right. So today, just by way of background, today will be a little bit more of like behind the scenes because it's a presentation that works pretty well with is it seventh form about 11, 12 years old? I believe it's seventh form. And
Mhm.
so one of the things that I do is I make sure the content is available in Ukrainian as well as in English, which the older students don't really need. Um, but the younger students, they they're going to find it very helpful. So in both languages. And the other thing is that if I'm showing a video, I make sure that there's Ukrainian subtitles to it, which makes it, it, by way of accessibility. So would you like to start now, or are we
Yeah, let's
waiting for
start.
somebody? All right,
Yeah.
excellent. So what I usually say here is this is a street cam in Utrecht, very close to where I live. And you can see several different modes of transportation just in the loop of the webcam. So you see a fellow coming along here with 3 kids in a cargo bicycle.
Mhm.
And then you see a tram in the background. And then there's a car. I mean, we still have cars and things are things are bumbling along. There's a mini bus, something that looks like a marshrutka. Oh, and there's another bus, a double bus. And so we have a very hybrid culture. It's not all bicycles. And so the the kids, they want to know, of course, about bicycles. It's very exciting. But there's a dark side to it as well, which I'll explain, and we're going to find a way to present the dark stuff in a way that's not triggering, especially for the little ones. So, in previous sessions, I had introduced my country and said, okay, we're a monarchy. This is the king, this is the queen, this is the royal family. And the children are grown up now, so it's a slightly older picture, but this is um, how we get around. It's not just poor people. We're a constitutional monarchy, so we're a country of laws, and people follow the law not because there's police watching or because they're afraid, but because this it makes our society run the way it does, which we're very thankful for. So there's a sense of equality, of safety, and responsibility in using our infrastructure the way it's legally meant to be used. And note that I just put the Ukrainian down there. And if someone needs help with translations, any of the other volunteers, I'm always happy to help. So you don't need to bother Elena for every little thing. I'm happy to help. And notice also the gender roles. The fellow is our fellows are also taking care of children just the same as women do, and in fact more, because we work longer hours for less money. We still don't have full equality. So it's nice to have help. Here's our queen in the 1930s, Queen Beatrix, also on a bicycle. And in 1972, we had our Revolution of Dignity, our Maidan, in which some parts of our cities had been flattened for cars. And in fact, we lost many beautiful old buildings, and some of the canals, which our ecosystem depends on, had been filled in to make highways. So that had no future. It was unsustainable. And then in the early 70s, the child of a prominent journalist was killed on her bicycle in traffic trying to get to school. And this started a wave, started a revolution, because Dad wrote an article called Stop the Kindermord, Stop the Child Murders. And this is something that, because they're Ukrainian kids, there's child murders going on every day. That's what the Russians do. So we have to approach this in a way that is not going to be triggering for them. Do no harm. So this is the challenge of presenting a subject. So we did make the decision to redesign the country, not only for people, but because we found out that it was going to cost billions and billions and billions to build all this car infrastructure that the planners in their wisdom had decreed for us. So here's a word cloud, Khmari sleeve in Ukrainian. So we have a big population, but we're also the most dense population in Europe. Our population density is the same as India. So we have challenges of personal space, of ecology. How do you live together? How do you get around? Because if everyone gets in a car or even takes a taxi, we're screwed. So we talk about this and use the word cloud to stimulate conversation. I do not read slides. That's not my style. So I give this example. This is Utrecht. In fact, I'll be there on Saturday in this spot. This was where a canal, an 800-year canal, had been filled in to make for cars. And then when it was restored, this is what it looks like today. That's the Catharinensingel in Utrecht. So this was before 1980, after 1980, which is when the real transformation happened. So it's slow. It took a long time. But today, over 1/4, like around 28%, so almost a third of our trips are by bicycle. So we have biker gangs. These are the dangerous guys. Watch out for them. You've heard of Hell's Angels. Well, these are the Hague's Angels. Watch out. They're dangerous. I do point out to the kids the different types of bicycles, because one of them is, well, there's two flatbed bicycles. You can put your groceries from shopping in there. You can put a crate of beer. You see some people doing that, or bring your empties back to the supermarket. We find a way. And here's this Fleischerfuhr. This is a butcher. This is fresh meat delivered
Mm.
to households, and because we're big on deliveries, I get a lot of groceries delivered and other things delivered. It's very efficient. There's less need to get in a car and go somewhere and buy something and then drive home. And of course, the famous bulk feeds, or the cargo bicycle. Yes, it's a wooden shell. Sometimes they're composites. And, 2 or 3 kids can fit in there, or 2 kids and some groceries, or 1 kid and a dog and the groceries and some flowers. We do fill them up.
Carla, and I have a
Yeah,
question. Like these bicycles, are they like custom made or there are actually companies that produce them?
they are mass produced.
Oh, mass produced. Wow,
Yeah,
interesting.
in the war, when we had our occupation, the Germans stole like over half the bicycles.
Oh,
They I mean, they stole a lot. They stole the food too, but they stole the bicycles. And so we had to find a way to mass produce very well-made bicycles that would last for decades, if not a lifetime. So in that black and white picture of the Queen, that was a bicycle she had when she was a young girl, and she died, and the bicycle's in a museum somewhere, but
wow,
it's still serviceable.
quality. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
important.
I also should point out that the if you notice on some of them at least, the chains are covered so that you can ride in formal clothing, like you can dress for the office
Mm-hmm.
and ride. I routinely ride in skirts, and I don't have to worry about my long skirts being caught in something, which is a nightmare.
And your politicians as well, yeah? Ride bicycles.
Rutte
Okay,
himself,
yeah.
who's now the
Mm-hmm.
head of NATO, he just made a point out of never stopping bicycling. And our politicians are such that you can meet them on the street, and they're not like stuck in limos like the Americans with a police
Mm.
escort.
So he's
Good.
just like cycling and there is like no guards around him. He's on his own.
Nope, nope.
That's cool. Like very down to earth, close to people, yeah? Common people.
Yeah, we have to be. We're very small. And we're very cheap. We have to mind our cost of government, and security can be expensive. Um, so I have a way of embedding videos into presentations, both in the the videos that I make, and anything online, YouTube, whatever, it doesn't matter. And so when I start it, I'll start it now, and I'm sharing the sound, so you should hear the sound. And I'll also turn on the um, turn on the subtitles, and there's a little bit of babble in the beginning, so I'm going to skip past that as well.
Oh, we can't hear. I think maybe, like in Zoom, you could use that button on the top panel, like share sound.
Oh yeah,
Um,
I'll experiment with it.
mhm. We have foreign volunteers, so I think better if we have subtitles in English because not all of them understand Ukrainian.
Sure, I'll change that to English. No worries. But this is so you can. That's the point. We can use subtitles. But
Yeah.
here we go. I'm going to roll it. Mass production. That's near me. I go
Hmm.
there.
So cool.
Okay.
That's really impressive. The parking space in the metro. Yeah, the short.
Yeah, we oh, I have and I have more of that. So there's a couple of things of note is yeah, where do you park? Because there in some places there's so many bicycles, it's easy to forget where yours is. Um, I I bought this robin's egg blue bell so I can see from a distance. It's blue. It's very bright blue, so I can see
Mm.
which bicycle is mine. It's very distinctive. And in Amsterdam, right near Central Station, it's especially a challenge. Like if I put my bicycle in there, I'm not sure how I would get to it, but people manage. I don't know how. In some areas, especially in outside of Amsterdam, they put the cycling garage underneath the station.
Mm.
So, for example, when I went to a wedding that was in another part of the country. I bicycled to the station in Haarlem, where I live, and went put it in the underground, and then took the train. It was about 2 hours on the train, and then I came out and rented a bicycle in the station where I went to, because in all of the rail stations you can rent a bicycle, and
Mm.
you do that with your your transport card. Like I have a card that works in the whole country, but I can also touch it to a bicycle and immediately I can rent that bicycle.
And how much does it cost?
It's minimal. It's like like €2 an hour,
Oh, yeah, that's very
or
cheap.
but as a maximum per day. At like
Hmm.
I I paid when I stayed overnight for 24 hours. I paid €12,
Hmm.
which is less than what it costs to park a car
Yeah.
in a major city. So this is what the rental bicycles look like, and this is how you pick them up. And we note the the double decker parking, which is fun,
Mhm.
especially getting your bike in the upper one.
Like you
It
physically need to lift it
oh
yourself,
no,
or there's a system?
there's a little system where it tilts,
Ah,
and
okay.
then you can roll it up, roll it down.
Okay.
It's
Nice.
even grandma can do this. I'm going to just show the second half of this so I don't take up too much of your time. But this was for the kids, this was interesting for them because they could see like from what it's like to what is it like to bicycle here. Oops. Here you go. So, a couple of things that might be also interesting to note is that whilst Americans, you could tell the fellow is American because he has that kind of bicycle where you have to lean forward to hold on.
Hmm.
For us that's very it's a very alien way of riding. Also, almost nobody uses helmets here, and we sit straight up. So
Mhm.
very, it's like riding a horse.
With style, yeah? You're riding a bike with style.
Ah. And then finally, I gave a teaser to the next presentation in the that I plan to give in the wave, and that's it. And then I ask if people have questions. And our next queen, she's so cool. Anyway, would you have any questions?
Sure. So what about foreigners when they come to the Netherlands? Like, is there like some kind of local guide how they need to ride bicycle to be safe on the roads?
I believe that there's handouts that the rental agencies give.
Mm. Do's and don'ts on the roads?
Do's and don'ts. When I was in, very interesting story. When I was in Cleve last time, I was walking along with a friend, and the city had installed a red bicycle path. I'm looking at that and think, oh my God, you know, they, yeah, so they started to do it. They started also to make them red so it's easy to see because when it's just the same color as everything else, when you're walking, um, sometimes you don't really notice it, especially if you're talking to somebody. And so we're walking along and we're about to step on, to cross the bicycle path. And of course, I'm looking both ways. And my friend is with me and she's like oblivious. I said, look 6 ways because we're on a
You have to be
busy road.
like an owl, yeah? Spin your head.
Exactly. Exactly. So it's not expensive to uh to do this, to convert, because there's other things that you're not spending money on, and car infrastructure is incredibly expensive. It's like the number one uh Gesundheit. It's like the number one expense for city governments is the car infrastructure.
Hmm.
And everything else is secondary. So whatever they can do to save on that will be money that they can then spend on cycling infrastructure. It's more, if countries aren't adopting it, it's more resistance to change. And that's psychological. It's not about facts, it's about our cognitive process and how people are nervous about change and find it
Mhm.
difficult.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, I have a question.
Mhm.
What are some Dutch customs or traditions that you are especially proud of?
I am especially proud of something called Borrel, and that's on on Friday afternoon. Um, Down tools and get together with everybody and open a beer and eat little finger foods and just talk about anything except work.
Mm,
It's not all offices do it, but it's a tradition that I really love, and it's called Boro. It's togetherness, coming together.
nice. And do Dutch people have like a small talk, or like in the US, or like there's something else? How do you start like conversation with the...
Small talk. Um, I've it's the most difficult Dutch language to master because it's just like little tiny little particles of words and um, and sometimes it's cultural references, it's idiomatic. So that's the hardest. I've mastered legal Dutch, I've mastered technology Dutch, I've mastered office Dutch, but Borrel Dutch is is the hardest.
So how do foreigners adjust if they learn the language? Do you think
They
that would be also a hard thing for
well,
them?
if they come into the room where we start speaking English.
You make it easy for them, yeah?
Yeah, I think we make it a little bit too easy. There's foreigners here that speak English their whole lives and never really learn Dutch, even if they've become citizens, which is it's a shame because
They
it's
can receive citizenship without knowing the language.
yes and no. You have to you have to demonstrate proficiency and go to these tests, and but they're very easy tests.
Okay.
Um, and eh, passing the test doesn't mean you're going to use the language.
Hmm.
Even with my partner who is Dutch, we find English or German easier.
Hmm.
And so I can be lazy too, especially after I started learning Ukrainian. I just had too much in my head. Any other questions that you think the children might be interested in?
Yeah, do you think there are some like similarities between our cultures?
I would say there's a very difficult to translate word called gezelligheid, which
Hmm.
is like a like get being together, togetherness.
Hmm.
But it's more than that. It's just being with people and just enjoying time together. That's regard whether it's spontaneous or it's planned
Hmm.
with or without alcohol. And I think that's something that I really love about Ukraine as well, is that sense of gezelligheid. At least at least in the places that I hang out,
Hmm.
the way people get together and I go to poetry dens and art artsy fartsy places with people who do street art
Hmm.
and have to run away if the cops come.
In Kyiv, you mean?
Yeah, Kyiv and Kharkiv, and soon I hope to do so in Berdichev as well.
Hmm. And what do you think, like, since you've been here so many times, what do you think about the people? Are they usually like easily approachable?
Oh yeah, I find my shyness just is gone, and I just feel I can talk to anybody,
Hmm.
and often I do, especially to ask directions. because Google can be useless.
Yeah, it could be tricky, right?
Yeah, especially with walking directions.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. I get lost as well.
Okay.
Let's see, maybe other people want to ask something. Do you
Is
guys
there?
have questions?
Mhm. I see Allah, but I don't see anybody else's picture here. So, I have a question for Allah, because I did give this presentation to your class. Do you think that it was the right level for the kids? It was the right. Do you think they understood it, or do you think I needed to use simpler words? I'm not sure. Do you have any feedback on that? Oh, um, well, I'll ask her later because I'm always interested in feedback.
Okay. Oksana says she enjoys the presentation, but she cannot speak.
Oh,
Um,
that's
Thank you.
yes. Thank you, Oksana. I'm going to stop the sharing. And there we go. And open the chat so I can. Right. Thank you, Oksana. Дякую дуже.
So, guys, if you don't have questions, I guess we can wrap up. Or maybe Carla, do you want to add something?
Well, that's about it. I do want to tie into climate because climate is something on all of our minds.
Oh,
But
yeah,
at the
sure.
I just now at the adult level, it's very important for us to come together in Europe and deal with the big issues. And if there's any lesson from Dutch politics, is that although we disagree about many issues, we work together on like the big issues.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't allow certain misbehaving politicians to uh, drag down the conversation. So I think that's one of the very cool things about Netherlands. It's called the Polderpolitiek. The just when there's an issue that aligns with the core values of the country, we just work together. We don't say, should we be doing this or not? We just do it. And
Mm,
my party is working to see climate included in that. I think we made great progress, but especially with you know, safeguarding our land from rising sea levels. But we need to keep going on that. We all do.
yeah. Each country has to do its contribution, right? But
Yeah.
some apparently do not want to do their part. Yeah, they care about profits more than about the
Yeah.
environment.
Yeah, and I know that there's people who love their cars, and but I haven't owned a car for 10 years, and I'm really happy. I don't have to pay those bills. I don't have to worry about anything. I don't have to worry about unexpected needing a water pump and
Mm.
all that and all the time that used to take out of my life. I suddenly I got my life back. It's very cool. And so for all of the all that the independence that cars give us, I find in Europe, except for like Scotland, parts of Scotland, that I don't really don't need it.
It's like good or developed public transportation, right? In your case, you also have like bicycles.
Yeah, and when after we win, when we win and Boryspil reopens,
Yes, waiting for that.
I'm not flying. I
No,
because
taking
I
the
love the
train,
train so
staying
much.
true to yourself, yeah.
Yeah, it's not just that liking trains, it's the conversations in the corridor.
Oh, really? You enjoy that?
I love it. I just live for that. Sometimes I
Right.
bring my book and I don't even get to read my book.
Uh,
It's just the conversations and meeting people and some want to stay in touch. Very cool. I've got invitations from so many places to just come if I'm in the area.
Amazing. That's great experiences you're having with Ukrzaliznytsia.
Oh yeah, yeah, exactly. And they tweeted a big apology, like oh, we are so sorry, but like one of our stations was bombed and the train was 40 minutes late and we are so sorry, but we got it working again. We got the crews, got the trains working again normal. Okay, so here when a train is 40 minutes late, nobody even notices. Nobody apologizes. 40 minutes. You're lucky if it's only 40 minutes.
Yeah.
I've been on German trains that were delayed by 4 hours. Yeah, and like sitting in a station for 4 hours, wondering whether the train is going to be canceled or it'll eventually come. So they apologized for 40 minutes.
Right? The efficiency of our
Oh my
train.
God.
Yeah.
You can imagine if the German trains got, they the German trains are a victim of deferred maintenance because they didn't put the budget into maintenance. They said, "Oh, we're not going to replace something until it breaks," instead
Mhm.
of replace something um eh, instead of replacing it when it's at the end of its service life, which in English we call false economy. There's also an Orcish word for that called smekalka, and it's
Mhm.
like this self-hatred that that when you're feeling clever and you do something, but it's gonna bite you later.
Yeah.
So it's a bad decision in the long run, like putting on your socks while your socks are still wet.
Hmm.
That's you're gonna have foot problems.
Yeah. But it's quite impressive, right? Like now, like during the war, the trains are working like so efficiently. It's like the station being hit, right? And they're like, okay, maybe we're gonna be late 10 minutes, or we are following according to the schedule. It's impressive.
Yeah, yeah, even Kramatorsk, which was I've been there twice, and yeah, they just keep things running and always access to toilets, unlike Poland.
Really?
Oh dear.
They
Oh,
don't let
there,
you in to use the toilet, or there are no
there,
toilets.
either no toilets or they're broken or
Oh my God, how is this possible? It's
there's
like
a or
unacceptable.
they have temporary little plastic toilets
Oh,
that are delivered outside the station. It's like,
no,
oh my God.
that's bad.
Yeah, I don't go through Poland anymore. People love it. People swear by Poland, but I go through Praha, through
Hmm.
to the Slovakias and Praha, or through Hungary to Wien.
Mm.
It's a lot more civilized.
Okay, we have one question in the chat.
Of
Are there
course.
like motorbikes? I guess like he meant e-bikes, yeah?
Okay, there are motorbikes,
Ah,
like
motorbikes, actual motorbikes. Okay.
like like scooties
Yeah.
and so is some of them go really slow, and you can, in some cities you can use them on the bicycle paths, and in some cities you may not. The faster ones must go out with the regular traffic. And yeah, we have motorbikes are less common in congested areas like Amsterdam, but here in Haarlem, where I live, about 25 minutes away from Amsterdam, there's more motorbikes, and also more immigrants that are used to going by motorbikes. It's their comfort zone. E-bikes are very popular. I have an e-bike.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it just it helps me, especially when I'm carrying very heavy things on my bicycle.
Mm. Do you need to have a driving license for certain e-bikes?
No,
No.
no, for motorbikes, yes.
I just watched some podcast about Germany, and they were saying that if there is like above certain like speed limit, like you might need to have a like license for that.
Possibly, possibly
But you
the
guys do not do that. That's nice.
yeah. Everything depends on whether we don't bother regulating something unless it's a pattern. We've had some bad experiences. Like, for example, talking on your bicycle. The video mentioned that talking or texting whilst riding your bicycle is illegal. Yeah, I've seen people who do that. They're just like riding along
Area.
sometimes, or like
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how they manage. I couldn't do it.
Yeah, I actually read an article about Japan that they introduced fines for people who are like texting while on the bike. So, also if they are like drunk, so they have to pay fine, or they could go to jail up to 3 years if it's
Yeah,
like certain amount of alcohol found in their blood.
yeah. Drink driving, drink bicycling is also it's also not
Break the rules
ideal.
if for it, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Right. Uh, yeah, I see Oksana's comment about the German trains, 5 months in Germany. Yeah, I was pretty shocked. I the other thing about German trains is that they were great in the 80s when I was in university there. So I that's my perspective, that they were once really good, but now they're not in such good shape.
Mm. And
But
their internet, right, as well.
oh my God. You know what? One of the hardest things is going from Kyiv to, um, and then traveling. Praha's okay, but then traveling through Germany, and suddenly I'm on a train for hours and hours and hours, and I can't get any work. I can't connect. I can't send an email. It's even with mobile data, and pretty much everywhere in Ukraine, I've got mobile data.
Yeah.
They have a better in wartime, the Ukrainians have a better uptime for internet and ubiquitous access. Like I can go anywhere. Wander to Puzata Hata, even on the street, there's like two or three stores, and two out of three aren't don't even have a password on their Wi-Fi.
Right. How cool is that?
Yeah, and if the society considers it a public good, like you have air to breathe, fresh air, that isn't too terribly polluted, or clean water. If it's a public good, then it's there. And I think Germany need to they have some work to do.
Oh, they
And
might like there's like big changes, right, in their government. Maybe they'll need to elect a new Bundestag.
yeah, I was hoping for that. And giving some of the politicians that I knew a hard time. So I know three MEPs from Germany,
Mm-hmm.
and one of two of whom came with me to Kyiv last April.
Mm-hmm.
So they then came back and they were working on the Ukraine facility to well basically the and that and some other programs to convert um, frozen uh, Russian
Russian assets.
assets into collateral for loans. So if Ukraine does can't pay them back, which nobody can pay back that much money, nobody, um, it'll just get covered.
Yeah, we
Um,
entitled for those money. I mean, like this is like our part of repatriation that Russians owe us. We should not
it's a
return it.
mhm, it's a good start.
Yeah.
But yeah, and so it was great. It was great to have them there. So I've been bothering them, from time to time. I said, "What the hell?" you know, and why hasn't anybody called for a no confidence vote in this government yet?
Hmm.
And so, yeah, so it finally did happen, and I'm hoping for some positive change there, especially with respect to 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 the appeasement policies, which I consider unacceptable. But
Yeah.
we're really far afield from talking about bicycles, but it's all connected,
Yeah.
especially with the climate issues that are near and dear to my heart.
Right. With the Trump power, I read like his statement about the environmental policies. Like he wants to return to coal. Yeah, stop all this
Yeah,
nonsense with your renewable energy.
yeah. It's fortunately they're how do I put this? They they don't they use a lot of resources and they have a huge economy, but they're not that many people, and I'm hoping they do as little damage as possible. But it is
Mhm.
a wake up call for Europe to
Oh yeah,
get
for
our
sure.
own act together and stop turning to them for answers and solutions.
Hmm. Absolutely. Hopefully.
Yeah, we're Europe. Ukraine's Europe. We're all Europe. So let's start acting like it.
Yeah. I'll stop.